Hey everyone, I'm Lincoln Parks. Welcome to the I'm Local podcast. In a world where big corporations dominate the market, it's easy to forget about the unique and vibrant businesses that make our communities thrive. That's why I created the I'm Local podcast, a podcast dedicated to showcasing the incredible stories and contributions of local businesses just like yours. Each episode, I'll be diving into the heart and soul of a different local business. We'll hear from the passionate entrepreneurs behind the scenes as they share their personal journeys, their business philosophies, and the challenges and triumphs that make ownership so rewarding. Whether you're a longtime resident looking to rediscover the hidden gems in our own backyard, or an aspiring entrepreneur seeking inspiration and guidance, I'm Local is here to connect you with the stories that matter most. So buckle up, get ready to be inspired, and join me as we explore the fascinating world of local businesses on I'm Local. Hey there, well, I'm Lincoln Parks, and I want to welcome you to the I'm Local podcast. Today, on the I'm Local podcast, we have local entrepreneur, business owner, former chamber chair, Mr. Steve Nails. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Lincoln.
Absolutely. So, Steve, I wanted to jump in real quick and ask you. I know you started your business and Nail Heating and Air. Just give us a little insight on what how did you start your business? What was one of the first things that you did out the gate?
Well, I started my business actually back in the early 90s, but I had been in the HVAC business for quite a while. When I was growing up, a good friend of the family had a heating and air conditioning company. So while I was going through high school and all, I worked with him part-time and kind of learned the trade from him. And then once I graduated high school and all, I went to work for a couple other different companies till I got to the point where I thought I was ready to start my own business.
Gotcha. So, I mean, with the experience that you had gotten working, with this gentleman, do you believe, like, right now, for someone that might be watching or listening to this podcast, what advice would you give them when they're trying to get started in business?
Well, certainly a lot of the companies now, we're not unique to hiring younger uh, people that are looking to get into the business. But we also recommend the trade school. Henry County is affiliated with a great school, and they have a campus in Henry. And I'm not sure Henry does the heating and air yet, but they are looking into it. But the one in Griffin does. We certainly recommend a combination of both. We call it getting your boots muddy, as well as
Yeah.
going to school and learning the book part of it.
So Steve, like, I know right now you work with all kinds of businesses in Henry County. You work with residential, you work with commercial. Like, right now, in this season, what are some of the services that you offer that right now that are most popular?
Right now, this time of year, which we're kind of getting into our winter months where it's getting colder, but certainly maintenance, especially
Yeah.
commercial type applications as well as residential. When it comes to your heating, because it can be dangerous, we were talking about that earlier this morning at the office. If your air conditioner is not operational, you're inconvenienced. You're hot and you're
Yeah.
inconvenienced. I actually grew up in a home we didn't have air conditioning, but your heat's a little different story because with the gas fired and the electrical, there are some components to those systems that could potentially be dangerous. So we certainly recommend having a qualified company just come check and service them. Even if they are working, there could be
Right.
underlying issues that you're just not aware of because they are working. It could still be heating, but not heating safely or properly.
Let me interrupt this broadcast to share this information with you. The I'm Local podcast is brought to you by My Local Henry. We Are Henry Magazine and the Henry County Chamber of Commerce. My Local Henry is a local directory in Henry County dedicated to featuring small businesses and showcasing all the latest events in Henry County, Georgia. List your business as a free local listing or upgrade for a featured business listing. Learn more at mylocalhenry.com. The podcast is also brought to you by We Are Henry magazine. Since 2012, We Are Henry has set the standard for excellence as the premier hometown magazine for citizens of our wonderful community. With a vision and a passion to connect family and friends through experiences, We Are Henry's pages are filled with human interest stories, information on local events, dining, and all the happenings that make our county so special. We are dedicated to telling the stories of the great people in Henry County. The more we learn and know about these that live around us, the more we are able to become a tight-knit group of citizens. We are moving and growing together, and our community is our home, and we are Henry. The I'm Local podcast is also brought to you by the Henry County Chamber of Commerce. The Henry County Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the business's climate and making our community the best place to live, work, and play. Founded more than 50 years ago in 1967, your chamber is a highly proactive and visible influence in Henry County and the entire South Metro region. The ultimate task of the chamber is an economic development. Not only do they work to bring new businesses into our rapidly growing county, they also strive to ensure that our existing businesses thrive and that newcomers and visitors recognize what Henry County has to offer. As such, the Convention and Visitors Bureau operates under the umbrella of the chamber. Now, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, and I think a lot of people take that for granted as well. You know, they feel like if something's working, you know, hey, look, I don't need maintenance, it's working, and then they wait till the last minute, and next thing you know, in the middle of the night, they're calling Nail Heating and Air to come out to try and come out and fix whatever problem they have.
Right, right. And some of it is preventive maintenance. I
Yeah,
hate to use that word because the equipment we deal with it is certainly mechanical. What's working today may not be working tomorrow, but it's no different than owning a car and getting the oil changed in a timely, regular maintenance. It's going to extend the life of the car. That doesn't mean the starter's not going to go out, but you just there's certain things you need to do to your heating and air system as well.
that's right. So, Steve, I know we hear these buzzwords all the time, air quality, and you know, and we know we came through COVID and all of that happened previously. Like, what services do you offer, you know, around air quality and that kind of stuff?
That's a great question, and it really was highlighted during the COVID. Your indoor air is much more polluted than the outdoor air. Sometimes that sounds funny, but in the wintertime, it's not the cold weather that's getting everybody sick. It's because you're in a confined area, recirculating germs and air. So there's a vast majority of items in our portfolio now that strictly addresses indoor air quality. They have ultraviolet lights, which actually kill bacteria. Of course, your filter system, you want to catch and trap those germs and filter. So that's probably one of our fastest growing segments of our business is indoor air quality. And over the years, they have really done some research and fine tuned this stuff to where it really does work. It's not just something, whether it's us or any heating and air company, there is a value to having clean indoor air.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Steve, another question I have for you is, you know, I know as things advance, since you've been in business, you know, there's technology that's advancing, and a lot of things that are happening in the HVAC industry. You know, what are some things that you know maybe advancing now to the point where you know it's getting real technical? Anything in that perspective?
Yes, and it is. Here again, we have ongoing training with all our technicians and apprentices because of that. It is changing so rapidly. A lot of it is government driven. No different than the electric cars, the reduction of fossil fuels. It hits our industry also. Uh, and there are changes. The systems that are out there now and our technicians work on are not the same systems I grew up working on. The ones I grew up working on were very forgiving. There wasn't a whole lot of technology involved in the systems themselves. The units nowadays have self-diagnosis features. Certainly, the refrigerant can be checked via the components of the unit now. And the biggest thing coming now, they raised all the energy ratings last year, which in turn, unfortunately, raises the cost of the system in an effort to
Mm.
reduce energy consumption. One of the biggest changes is set to take effect in 2025. They are again introducing a new refrigerant to help combat the fluorocarbons that reduce our ozone. So it's very important that as a company we stay trained and updated on the newest stuff. But the technology is certainly for the younger generation, not so
Yeah.
much myself. It's just totally different systems than what I grew up, servicing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Steve, I want to transition a little bit. I know you have been, the Henry County Chamber Chair. You were very instrumental in some of the programs that were launched through the chamber. Right now, we're actually utilizing the Small Business Resource Center for this particular podcast, and I know you've worked with the with new, younger, emerging business leaders. Talk a little bit about your experience with the chamber and what benefits that it would have for a business.
Certainly. For us, it has been a tremendous benefit. I recommend to most businesses, small, large. I stayed away from the chamber for many years. I was a member, but I wasn't very involved. I had the misconception it was all executive, Fortune 500 businesses. And once I got involved with the chamber, I found out that's just not the case. The majority of the businesses are smaller entrepreneur type businesses that deal locally in the community. Business wise, it has certainly helped us, but more so than that, the relationships we've developed over the years of being involved have just been invaluable, not only
Right.
to our business, but personally also. So we highly recommend that. As far as the emerging business leaders, we saw a need for the younger businessman that needed guidance, so to speak, mentors, a way
Yeah.
to do that. And that was kind of the whole concept behind the emerging business leaders is your younger entrepreneur, because these guys got great ideas, they got great business plans. We just wanted a place where they could come and feel more at home with a like-minded group of individuals. So
Yeah.
we're real proud of that. And I would highly recommend that to any younger entrepreneur. Get in contact with the chamber, get involved. It doesn't do any good to be a member and not be involved. And I learned that
Yeah.
lesson the hard way.
Yeah, yeah, and Steve, I reiterate that as well because I know, I met you through the chamber and the business and utilizing your services and the professionalism and everything that your business stands for. I second that as well as the chamber. So, thank you for being, such a great pillar in a community and a business leader that those young individuals can look to and model their businesses after. So, we appreciate your efforts there.
Thank you. Thank you. We enjoy doing it. We really do.
Absolutely. So, Steve, and wrapping up the podcast, I just got a couple other questions for you. We call this section the rapid fire section, and so I want to ask you. So, do you have any hidden talents? Anything that people may not know about Steve Nail?
Uh, no, not really. Uh, as I get older, I realize how untalented I am. But it's kind of like, what do you do? I've been asked that before. I have several hobbies. I'm just not very talented at them. So I have to kind of say I don't really have any.
Well, one thing I do know is that you keep everyone in stitches no matter where you go. So comedy may be a next career for you. You never know.
Well, I used to think that, and I actually had the opportunity with some fellow chamber members to get up on a comedy talent show, and it didn't go real well. I froze. I couldn't even talk, and so that was the extent of that. So we'll stick to trying to make people laugh locally.
Gotcha. So, Steve, I want to ask: are there any local restaurants, local establishments that you really recommend for anybody else that's watching or listening?
Uh, Absolutely. You know, Henry County's been very fortunate to have a group of leaders that have the foresight to see. Nobody likes the traffic and all that, but it's a necessary evil. You have to continue to grow, you know, the economy in here. And out of that, we have several local businesses. Probably one of my favorite, and they are happen to be chamber members and great community involvement, is our 15th Street Pizza. Uh, Patrick
Yeah,
and Katie, always a great place to stop in and have a slice of pizza. And then when you're done with that, you can sneak over. There's local ice cream shops that not that everybody needs to indulge in ice cream, but I certainly like to. But I would say if
me
I
too.
had to just go pick a restaurant to go sit down, it'd have to be 15th Street Pizza.
That's awesome. Great business owners, Patrick and Katie. I mean, just pillars in the community. And I know I need to get back over there and get some pizza with the family. So, Steve, I'm really appreciative for you taking some time out today and just really sharing your insight with everyone. It's always a pleasure to see you and also to just to speak with you. So I wanted to ask: are there anything else you would like to leave with folks that are listening today?
You know, I would just encourage anybody that is thinking about starting their own business. I know that's a big step. Certainly seek out advice and certainly join your local chamber. If nothing else, for the professionalism and the other professionals that you're going to surround yourself with, it's just invaluable experience, and I would recommend
Yeah,
that to anybody. And don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of people get too hung up on, well, that's my competition,
right,
and I have found, no, not really. It's the people that are out there not plugging in, not doing community service, not being part of the chamber. You know, that's the ones that really are your competition. The people that are you're surrounding yourself with. We all want to see everybody succeed, and with the county
right.
growing at the rate Henry County does, you know, there's room for everybody.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad you said that, Steve, because I know people that are involved in the chamber, they only want to help your business. It doesn't, like you
Absolutely.
said, it doesn't matter if you're in the same industry. Everyone just wants to lock arms and really support each other and help each other grow. So you can't get better than that. So and that's what this podcast was for, really to highlight businesses like yours. The experienced businesses that know that can also help out some of the newer businesses that
Well,
might be coming up and some avoid them from making some mistakes that we've made in business along the way. So I really
absolutely.
appreciate you being on today.
Thank you, Lincoln. I really appreciate you having me.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you. You too.